So how to put all these concepts together? So I thought I would start with a pandemic because that's the most obvious kind of stressor overlayer of things that we have. So I'm not sure this is divine inspiration or not, but I made up a song. So you'll tell by the end if it's divine or not, we don't know. But I thought I should sing about it because that helps me put some words to it, some expression to it. And I copied it off a bluegrass song, the melody. Ooh, quarantine, I haven't seen my friends or my family. Oh Lord, we're gonna try the social distancing. The virus hit, so here we sit, stuck at home with no place to roam. Fix your sights on happier times, 'cause we ain't going nowhere. Ooh, quarantine, haven't seen my friends nor my family. Oh Lord, we're gonna try the social distancing. We wear our mask, that's not too much to ask. We wash our hands and know where to stand. Sing for healing now, sing for peace, 'cause we ain't going nowhere. Ooh, quarantine, haven't seen my friends nor my family. Oh Lord, we're gonna try the social distancing. We pray for patience and a lot of grace. Uncertainty is what we face. The struggle goes on now for equality. Let's put love on all we see. 'Cause you guessed it, 'cause we ain't going nowhere. Ooh, quarantine, haven't seen my friends nor my family. Oh Lord, we're gonna try the social distancing. Whoops, wrong chord. There. So I was working at home with a lady, her name is Chloe, and it's an audio version of sound healing, of music, of how to sing about distress, how to sing your life to give it some fullness, to give it some movement. So I've been going around the house singing, I don't like this anymore, I'm sick of it, when are we gonna get done? And I'm being very dramatic about it. And I'll invite you to do that at home yourself because it works. Because it gives an expression to this felt sense of being threatened. This felt sense of, I'll do the best I can, but what if? What if I expose? What if I am exposed? What if? So we're seeing great rise to all sorts of, what's the word I put down? The heartlessness of what humankind has afflicted on each other over the years and throughout history. And so we're having lots of demonstrations about that now. And so these energies that have been stifled, oppressed, hidden under wraps are now fully to the surface. And there's no getting away from the pain, the heartlessness is, I think, a good terminology for it. So there's huge waves of grief. So how to be real with that this pandemic is so individualistic on how it imprints us, how it impacts us. In my counseling practice, I have everything from, well, we're retired anyway, so it's really no big deal. I mean, I put a mask on to go to the store, and that's pretty much it. To other people being so isolated they can't leave their apartments because they're in a social situation, so they can't even leave their rooms hardly. And some of my clients, especially one, will be evicted next week because of lack of job. So to hold all of this and honor and try to find the light, the bright, the funnier, the more humane way to be, and I have no concept of how my mind works. But when Linda presented me with talking today about divine imagination, I went right to the story of the loaves and fishes. I mean, who makes this up but me? So I'm going to read a little bit from the Urantia book. And this is a channeled book about Jesus' life. And I really like the Urantia book just because it has a little bit of a different slant on, especially the King James Version of what Jesus was about. So the setting for the story of the loaves and fishes is that Jesus had followers with him for now 3 days, and it was very chaotic, and it was people were getting really hungry because the stores of food that they had brought with them were dwindling. And so the apostles were getting panicked, telling Jesus, please, you got to dismiss everybody. You got to tell them to go away now because we don't have food for people. So anyway, Philip was saying, yes, Master, I think it is best that you dismiss the multitude so that they may go their way and buy food while you secure rest for the season. Then said Jesus, but I do not desire to send them away hungry. Can't you feed them? This was way too much for Philip, and he spoke right up, Master, in this country place, where can we buy bread for this multitude? 200 denarii worth would not be enough for lunch. Before the apostles had an opportunity to express themselves, Jesus turned to Andrew and Philip, saying, I do not want to send these people away. Here they are, like sheep without a shepherd. I would like to feed them. What food have you with us? While Philip was conversing with Matthew and Judas, Andrew sought out Mark the lad as to ascertain how much was left of their store of provision. He returned to Jesus, saying, the lad has left only 5 barley loaves and 2 dried fishes. And Peter promptly added, and we have yet to eat today. For a moment, Jesus then stood in silence. There was a faraway look in his eyes, and the apostles said nothing. Jesus then turned suddenly to Andrew and said, bring me the loaves and the fishes. And when Andrew had brought the basket to Jesus, the master said, direct the people to sit down on the grass in companies of 100, and appoint a leader over each group while you bring all of the evangelists here with us. Jesus took up the loaves in his hands, and after he had given thanks, he broke the bread and gave it to his apostles, who passed it on to their associates, who then in turn carried it out to the multitude. Jesus in like manner broke and distributed the fishes, and this multitude did eat, and they were filled. And when they had finished eating, Jesus said to his disciple, gather up all the broken pieces that remain over, so nothing may be lost. And when they had finished gathering up the fragments, they had 12 baskets full. They who ate of this extraordinary feast numbered about 5,000 men, women, and children. And this is the first and only natural miracle which Jesus performed as a result of his conscious pre-planning. It is true that his disciples were disposed to call many things miracles, which were not. But this was a genuine supernatural ministration. In this case, so we were taught, Michael multiplied food elements as he always does, except for the elimination of time factor and the visible life channel. The feeding of the 5,000 by supernatural energy was another of those cases where human pity plus creative power equaled that's what happened. And I love that saying. And I'm going to read that part again. The feeding of the 5,000 by supernatural energy was another of those cases where human pity, and I would change that to human consciousness or human empathy, plus creative power equal that which happened. So the reason I'm bringing this story is because that was a profound act of imagination where he joined with God the Father, the love source. And I don't think he sat around and said to himself, well, I don't think I can do this. I don't think that's possible. I think he just said, here, well, let's do it this way. Organize it this way, and we're going to be doing that. So many of us are not called to those kinds of miracles, but it reminded me of a chef. His name is Jose Andres, and I think we've all seen him on TV, and he started the World Central Kitchen, and he's the one that went on to Puerto Rico after hurricanes, and literally he fed millions of people, millions of meals. And I don't think he ever once said, oh, you know, I don't think I can do this. I think whatever his nature of love, of giving, of seeing of a responsibility to feed people in disaster were just such that he was determined to do it. It's not considered a miracle because we can timeline his connections to people, to money, to food channels, to sources like that. But it is miraculous in the way that a man, because he believed people need to be fed, just did it. And I don't think he ever sat around and said, oh, I think I'm too little for this. He just knew he was called and off he went. And through his love, his charism, he got others to join him, to join him, to join him. And what we're seeing in the pandemic is that creativity, imagination about what needs to be done, what needs to be fed, leads very, very ordinary people to say, oh, I'm going to the food bank, I'm helping feed those people. And it doesn't matter if the cars are lined up for 5 miles, we're doing it. And so thus it's becoming created. We're seeing more and more global prayer circles around the planet. All denominations of people joining in for the same cause. And so we're here in a global lesson of oneness, that we're not different from each other. And out of this is springing this consciousness, the connection with divine source, with divine love, that goes way beyond wondering and questioning, can I do this, can I not do this, to this is what I'm going to do. This is how we're creating it. So I think we're just in such an amazing time that there's been such obstacles energetically to, for example, to free the DACA children from fear of being expelled from our country, and that broke through just this week. So I think it's important to remind ourselves in this time when we feel stuck and we feel condensed, at least I do, that, whoa, the spiritual and the heartfelt, the goodness is busting forth in ways that we didn't understand. My friends at the Gay Center gave me this mask this week because they couldn't do their gay pride celebrations. And so just a few people from Missoula started making these little masks, okay? And now it's global. They have orders from all over the globe now. And that's that divine inspiration and divine calling to put out there that love. And they also had a wonderful, I think, miraculous from the Supreme Court this week saying, no, they're protected from job discrimination. And it's like, wow, okay, so even in this churning and this confinement and this time of whatever, phenomenal spiritual breakthroughs are coming through. And I just love it, the coincidences that happen. This being Father's Day. And I got to thinking about putting this, a bunch of different thoughts together. And Jesus really came to teach a different understanding about God the Father. And it just so happened, I kept reading after I read the fishes and the loaves, that there's exactly what I needed. So I'm going to read you that part now. So the people that got fed were really surprised and wanted Jesus to be king, a material king. And Jesus is telling them, no, wait, no, and I'm telling you, that's not what I came for. Okay, so this is from Jesus. My children, you mean well, but you are so short-sighted and material-minded. You would make me a king not because your souls have been lighted with a great truth, but because your stomachs have been now filled with bread. How many times have I told you that my kingdom is not of this world? This kingdom of heaven, which we can proclaim, is a spiritual brotherhood, and no man rules over it seated upon a material throne. My Father in heaven is all-wise and all-powerful ruler over the spiritual brotherhood of the sons of God on earth. Have I so failed in revealing this to you, that the Father of the Spirit, that you would make a king of his Son in the flesh? Now all of you go hence to your homes. If you must have a king, let the Father of lights be enthroned in your heart, of each of you as the Spirit ruler of all things. Let the Father of lights be enthroned in our hearts for each of us as the spiritual ruler of all things. There's a poem in my office that I keep on my wall, and because I'm getting older, I get redundant, so a lot of my clients get the same poem. But I'm going to just read that, and then we'll complete our talk for today. It's from Goethe. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance of drawing back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of the initiative and creation, there is one constant truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That moment that one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream, You can begin it. Boldness has a genius, a power, and a magic in it. Begin it now. Amen.